90 page views per unique, and we're currently doing 12.
Right.
So that's obviously a gap that we'd like to close. The good news is that it's already up a lot. We went from 8 to 12, like in the past, I think, 4 or 5 months. But part of that is I think we need to just integrate more social into the experience.
Sounds like you need a better photo plugin.
That probably wouldn't be, people wouldn't mind that either. But I think that the beautiful thing about Tumblr, and I'm guessing the other T is Twitter. It wasn't going to be Tumblebee or anything like that. I wasn't sure. Is that they've integrated the reading and writing experience. So when you're consuming the content, you're one click away from creating it.
Right.
And that's really powerful. I don't know you're not going to create something with that one click that's going to have the same weight or gravitas as a post you might spend an hour writing.
Right.
And conversely, someone's not going to spend 20 minutes reading it. It's probably just going to scroll by in the stream really quickly. But that's not bad. I think there's space for all sizes of content.
Has anything about either of those services inspired you to do anything differently with WordPress.com?
Absolutely. I think Twitter inspired me, or us really, to start taking mobile seriously. Because the Twitter experience, I think it's the most used app on my iPhone. I got a WordPress iPhone. Just because you can open it any time and you have that sort of instant hit, right? When you open our app, it puts you on a blank screen to write something. Or when you open a Twitter app, you get your friend's latest tweets. There's something there within 5 seconds. If you're standing in line, or if you're waiting outside or waiting for your badge, you get sort of an instant gratification, which is really powerful. And I think from Tumblr, just more, they do beautiful simplicity. Like they definitely have a great design. And part of it, if you look at their tag pages and the search and everything like that, they integrate the photos really, really nicely into that whole experience.
Some people think that for folks who probably aren't the folks in this room, but who might be more like my sister, who's an architect, and she just wants to have a really fast, easy, pretty presence on the web, and she doesn't like the plugin for her is in the wall. Right, and so she just wants to do, she doesn't want to think about that stuff. She doesn't even want to see that back end. She just wants to instantly. That sort of Tumblr figured that out.
Well, what you just described is why we created WordPress.com, and those 40,000 people a day signing up for it, I think, are probably more like your sister than they're like.
Well, I told her to get a WordPress site.
Oh, cool.
It's a true story. She's like, okay, you're the tech support, but I'm like, oh, great.
I think part of it is that as you become, as a publisher, as you become more serious about it, the things that make Tumblr so social and viral will also rub you the wrong way. So, for example, your content, if you have a great post on there and it gets reblogged 1,000 times, most people are seeing it outside the context of your site.
Right.
So those page views don't count towards you. They don't count. That's why they have the different metrics that they put on it, the number of reblogs, the number of likes, everything like that, because it's not showing up in your stats anymore.
Right.
If you're a publisher making money from it, they're not seeing your ads.
Right.
They're not. So that's where we saw, for example, the Daily What was a huge chunk, one of the largest ones out there, recently switched over to WordPress, partially because they were becoming a micro publisher. They were making money from it.
Right. Well, as long as you brought up making money, I wasn't going to. But as long as you did, let's talk about that. I've said that WordPress is the largest media business in the world that doesn't see itself as a media business. You do actually make money with advertising, but you don't.
Despite ourselves.
Yes, but you don't seem to like it very much. So can you tell us how you do it and kind of what your thoughts are on that?
Sure. So we show some ads on WordPress.com, on the free blogs, if you don't have the no ads upgrade. Occasionally we'll show an ad below the post. I think the majority of the time now it's AdSense, although we've been experimenting with a few other things. It started, I think 5 years ago when we first started, and we had this experience where the number of users was going like this, and our business model, which is upgrades, people buying a domain name for their blog or something like that, was scaling with the number of users. But page views and conversely the number of servers we had to buy and everything was growing much faster. So advertising is obviously a business model more commensurate with that sort of usage model. So you like this, but what we did was we said, okay, we'll show AdSense, but only if you've never visited any WordPress.com before, You're coming direct from a search engine, direct to a permalink page, and not using Firefox.
So I call this the audience of IE 6 noobs.
That's a perfect way to put it. That's exactly what I imagine clicking on that.
So, also known as the folks who buy chia pets. So I'm not sure that scales as a media business, Matt.
Well, it's been kind of interesting because even though we use just straight AdSense, the CPMs are relatively high for us, even though it's just across sort of undifferentiated random content on our site. Because we have our ad system set up to show as few ads as possible. I would rather not show anything and show something bad or something that's not relevant. It's not perfect. Like obviously those are very rough metrics and it's evolved a lot over the years. But that principle I think stays the same.